get started. So we have Jake Wells, Adam Mills, a road rider, and a cyclocrosser walk into a building in Emporia, Kansas. What do you get? You get two people that are going to kick butt at gravel riding. So first of all, I want to start with you, Jake. You're racing in a couple of hours, and 200 miles is just too little for you. So you decided to do the official name is the Dirty Kansas XL, which is a 350-mile one.
Right.
What's your thought process behind that?
Well, XL stands for extra large. So, the thought process behind signing up for that event,
Doing it.
Yeah. So, I've done the 200 now twice, 2 years in a row, 17 and 18. And last year, the XL came online as an option, and a 350-mile version, and it's not all unique with the mileage, but it's also unique because it's completely self-supported. So you're completely self-reliant out there, just you and the other competitors that you're racing with, and you're relying on gas stations in these little towns for refuel. So there's no support crew, there's no any kind of nutrition hand-ups or anything like that. So for me, that when I first saw that, it was a little scary as an option. Oh man, 200 is hard enough. The 350, and you add in the whole self-supported element of it, just seemed really kind of daunting. And so then it took a little while to process that, and then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna throw my name in the hat and see if I get in, because it's an invitation kind of thing. So you have to apply, and they'll give you the nod or not.
Did you have to write your life story?
Yeah. Well, one of the questions was, how many rides longer than 300 miles have you done? And I've got a goose egg there, so I thought I'm probably not gonna get in, But and then they launched the start list the night before Cross Nationals. I was out in Louisville for Cross Nationals, and the list came out that night. I was racing Saturday. As soon as we raced was Saturday, and so Friday night it came out, and my sister sent me a message, and just like, "Good luck with your next adventure." I was like, "I'm racing national championships tomorrow. What are you talking about?" And then the next day at the start line, I was graded. We were kind of waiting for call-ups, and a buddy of mine that was there, he's like, "Hey, what's going on with this DKXL?" And I was like, I'm focusing on this. I can't be thinking about 350 miles in June. But so yeah, I was psyched to find out I got in, and I'm really excited about the adventure and just kind of testing myself and seeing what kind of things come up out there, and just kind of being out of my comfort zone completely. So.
For a long time.
For a long time.
Adam, you're doing the 200.
Right.
The lesser of the event, but it's still by no means a small feat. What is you're from Kansas? This is sort of your bread and butter. What is your thought process for tomorrow morning? What's going to happen?
Well, first I want to wish Jake good luck. That event is firmly in the silly category in my mind, but also in the exceptional superhero category. So I think you're going to do awesome. Good luck.
Thanks.
I've never done Dirty Kansas 200. I did the 100 last year. When I was growing up here, I remember a bunch of guys and a couple of them were working at the Trek store in Kansas City, and I was sponsored by the store at the time for our road team, and they had this crazy, silly idea of let's do 200 miles in Kansas on gravel roads. And I'd ridden a bunch of gravel roads because they're fun and adventurous, and when you get chased by a dog or whatever, a farm dog, it's always a good sprint workout, right? And it's like, man, that sounds like a horrible idea, but also a pretty cool adventure. But we all kind of made fun of them, they're going to ride 200 miles on gravel. And now the event's sold out before it even opens. It's because we all do this lottery system and whatever. I was fortunate enough to make it in, and So that's what brings me out here. I've always kind of thought I want to maintain this like lifestyle of active and riding a bike and having fun, being able to do events that I want to do whenever I want to do them without having to say, oh, I want to prepare for 2 years to do this event. And so I'm not as prepared as I would like to be for an event like Dirty Kansas. I also don't know if you can be as prepared as you'd like to be for an event like Dirty Kansas. So we'll find out. I'm just going to try and finish and try and not completely fall apart. Those are my 2 goals.
Great.
In that order, actually.
You're both coming off fresh-ish from BWR, Belgian Waffle Ride in SoCal. You both did the BWR. Jake, talk to you briefly. Sort of compare, like, is the prep different for an event like Belgian Waffle Ride versus Dirty Kansas? And then Adam, same question for the 200.
Yeah, for me it is. I think if you're doing the 140 Belgian Waffle Ride and then you're coming out and doing the 200 here, it's a little bit different equipment prep and nutrition plan, because at BWR there's the aid stations are no more than 20 miles apart. There's a lot more pavement, so it's a lot faster pace. But it's a good build up toward the 200, I think. But for the 350, it's a completely different ballgame. So for me at Belgian Waffle Ride, I was using that as a training day, as a test day. Adam and I were together at about the 2.5 hour mark, and we went out really fast with that front group, and then we kind of found each other out there on the course. And I just kind of at that point just kind of settled into kind of a training pace, testing my nutrition plan and testing my pacing for the rest of the kind of 4.5, 5 hours of that ride. So for me, it was a big prep and a good trial run. The course conditions there compared to BWR compared to Dirty Kansas are completely different. I mean, there's probably there's probably only 15 miles at the most of pavement. That's probably even generous. Where at BWR, there's like 100 miles of pavement and 40 miles of pavement.
And then Adam, you went out pretty hard at the start of BWR. You're like top 15 for a while until you weren't. Are you going to do the same thing? Are you going to get on Taylor Finney's wheel for as long as you can and then go around it?
My original plan at Belgian Waffle Ride was to hang on to the front group or maybe the second group until the bottom of Black Canyon. It's a Black Canyon sector, it's like an hour-long sector of uphill, basically. And after the first dirt section, I realized that wasn't going to be possible, so let's just try and stay with this group to Highland Valley, and that was barely possible, but it came at a cost, and those guys are really fast, and you pay the price for it, and I paid the price all day long. I think Jake and I talked, and then I wasn't there anymore as you kept going, but I was dropped from every group that I rode in that day, so I was consistent. But it was ultimately miserable for a fair amount of time, so I'm not going to be on that plan today. I'm going to be on just ride and get there and go at a pace that I know I can too. Not try and keep up with, to my last count, there were 5 World Tour guys on this, and my wife asked me, do you think you can hang with the front group? And I said, I think if Taylor Finney wants to go ride really hard, there's nothing I can do that's going to dictate whether or not I can stay with him, other than if he wants me to stay with him.
So yeah, that kind of leads to my next thing. There is a World Tour presence. You have 3 EF guys, 2 Trek Segafredo guys, and that may dictate a fast start because you're going to get the non-pros that are like, I want to just hang on their wheel or ride by them, which could dictate a faster start. What are your thoughts on the whole World Tour coming to do an event like DK? Is it good for it? Is it bad for it? Does it take away from the people that work 60 hours a week at a desk? Or is it good overall because the event's getting bigger?
Sure. So there's a question to Jim Cummins posed of, are you going to stagger the start? Are you going to not start in waves or something? And he answered it really well, and the short answer was no, but the long answer was like, this is a life experience and an opportunity for everyone to test themselves in this event, and that goes for the best athletes in the world too. I think the World Tour guys are going to get an eye-opener as to how difficult an event like this is none of them have dared to start the 350, the XL, because they want zero part of that. Or they don't want to tangle with Jake over here. I like it because the sport, it shows this effort of the sport, of the high level of sport trying to be more inclusive and involve more people and get out and talk to people. We've seen guys like Jens Voigt and Sven East were here last year, and they were involved, but they weren't truly trying to win. But people who rode with Jens Voigt, I don't know if any of them were here, like the guy was amazing and had a great presence.
I arrived at the end.
Okay, so from everyone I
I was
talked
so
to,
cracked, and he
yeah.
was just like, we were trading along, and this guy's on a fat bike with aero bars, and he comes up. I was on the front of our group of 9 or whatever, and I pull off, and he's like, hey, is that Jens Voigt up there? I'm like, yeah, we're all cracked. We were all so far back.
but it's an equalizer.
It is.
And it is just opportunity for everyone to meet everybody and to experience this life event with people that may be your idols. And to me, it's a great attempt or it's the high level of sport reaching out and trying to involve people, and I think that should be credited to saying like, well,
Jake, your thoughts?
Well, it's a testament to the event itself, to have the growth that DK has seen in the last 14 years, and just how challenging the course is and the format, the way that they structure everything, to have these World Tour teams that see the value in coming here, because there's really nothing but bragging rights. There's no payout, there's no, they're not paying these guys to come. So
There's a belt buckle.
there's a buckle, right, right. So, and that's new for this year. Until then, it's just been kind of a mug, and that's it. So to me, it's a testament to the quality of the event. If a sponsor like Trek, a World Tour team like Trek sees that the value in it, and same thing with Education First, then I think that fits perfectly with their demographic. And I talked to the mechanic, buddy of mine, Tom Hopper, that works with the Education First program, and we were talking about equipment demands a couple months ago for his guys, and I asked him, I was like, hey, how much? You guys already have a huge target on your back just by showing up, and how's that? How are you guys going to handle that? And he was adamant about the fact that they're here to embrace the culture of gravel and embrace the town of Emporia and the culture of the DK. And they're going to ride, and they're going to come in fit. I mean, all 3 of those guys just came off of I don't know if Keel was, they were all 5
Tour
at
California.
So they're all going to be super fit. But I think, like Adam said, that they're going to be probably a little bit shocked at how strong other riders are, especially on this type of terrain. And but also, they're here to experience it. So I think it's that unique opportunity as a general public rider to be able to jump into an event and be in the same race. And maybe you're not comparing yourself, you're not maybe racing for that finish against them, but you're at least able to look back and say, on the same day, on the same course, same conditions, this is where I stacked up.
Yeah, I was having the same conversation with somebody about marathons. Nobody gets mad that the Kenyans are showing up.
Sure.
They just all race and compare their time. That leads kind of to the next thing. World Tour rider biggest weakness is their ability to fix their own bikes out there. They're used to raising a hand, having the team car come up, they click the radio. That could play into it.
Yeah.
They're not known for being quick on the draw with fixing things. Let's talk about your equipment choices.
Yeah.
We've got some killer tires that you're running. Are you both running the same tire setup for the XL and then the DK200? Are you both running the IRC both?
right?
We are. Yeah. I'm running a 40 in the front and then a 36 in the back. Mostly just for mud clearance. I'm on a Scott Addict frame, and with the 40, I ran the 40 last year here on that same frame, and with the conditions that we have, I'm just a little bit going on a cautious side for my clearance, but with same tread, front and rear, a little bit less volume in the back, which isn't probably my first choice. I'd love to have that extra little bit of cushion, especially with the added weight of all the nutrition and extra parts I'm bringing, but I'd rather not be having to stop and clear mud out consistently as well.
Are you running the same setup, like a wider tire in the front and then more narrow in the rear? Or?
I'm running 40C tires.
On both?
I'm running the open up gravel bike, and it has a little bit more clearance in the back, and I want, because the mud clearance isn't much of an issue for that bike, I just want the widest tires, because the gravel up north is pretty big. The rocks are big. It's like unmaintained roads. They'll just stick a sign in the ditch that says unmaintained road, travel at your own risk, and then on like the back of the sign they'll write a date they put the sign in, and then sometimes like 20 years ago. and I think someone should go along with a stencil and just spray paint like good luck. But I wanted like the most off-road trainable option that I could get a hold of. So I'm just running the widest tires, and I think honestly the 40 mil gravel tires are kind of the new thing. It's all getting wider. Like the 33 mil cross tires were the original gravel tires. Now they're 40 mils. Road tires are 23, then they were 25. You'd be hard pressed to find anything smaller than a 28 on a lot of the pro teams now. They're all doing the wider rim, so a 25 still measures 28. So everything's going wider. It's all getting more aero in the process. It's all riding really well.
You can fit a 650 on that button, right?
Yeah, that bike. Well, you can't too on yours probably. Just,
No,
it's a through axle.
I've tried, but it hits this chainstay, or the chainstay.
So yeah, you can run.
But why did you decide to run the 40 versus the 47?
I didn't want the weight penalty of a 47.
Yeah.
Not saying it's particularly heavy. I also like the bigger wheels of the running in the G23 wheels with like the hookless bead technology, and I already have them, so I'm gonna like try and track down a 650 wheel set. And so just as far as equipment goes, just plug and play. And I don't. If I need that 2.1 mountain bike tire, I probably need a different bike anyway. Yeah. And hopefully I don't need it.
Right.
But
it's the run what you run mentality.
Right.
That's what I got, and then make it work.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's smart. I think the widest tire you can fit without compromising mud clearance.
And it does call for 50% chance of rain tomorrow.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're on the course.
Scattered showers.
Scattered showers.
So we keep
A
that
little bit
loose.
of wind. Let's talk about either the most beautiful or the ugliest piece of equipment out there, aero bars.
Yeah.
Are you guys running aero bars on your gravel bikes?
I never have, but I am for the XL.
You are. And
Yeah.
why are you putting aero bars on your bike? Is it more for comfort
Exactly.
rather than aerodynamics?
Yeah, it's not so much aerodynamics. I mean, maybe if there is a crazy, headwind or crosswind, then that might be a little bit beneficial. But when you're creeping along at 12 miles an hour, which I envision
12.
there'll probably be some of that at some point during this event for me. It's aerodynamics is probably not the biggest concern. It's more for comfort.
Okay.
And I felt like in the 200, I've always thought it was a little bit sketchy, to run aero bars in a field that size, going that fast at the front. But in the 350, it's a much smaller event as far as just sheer numbers. And for me, the biggest thing was just comfort and another hand position to change out. Because I'm just going to be on that bike for 25, 24, 34, something like that hours. I don't know.
Okay.
A long time.
Adam, what about you? You're running aero bars.
I am not. I am siding with Jake's logic that they are dangerous in mass start events. That's why they're not allowed in road racing. It's specifically why they're not allowed in road racing. And I've crashed on gravel. Not a good thing. I don't. If I'm in a position in this event where I need aero bars, that means I'm by myself, and I have done something horribly wrong. If that's the case, it's 200 miles. There's going to be more than enough wind for everybody. Just find a group of buddies or new best friends and ride and enjoy it. I also have a separated shoulder, so I'm not sure I can ride in the aero bar position for any amount of time that would benefit me anyway without hurting. So a little bit of everything, but mostly I don't think they're safe. I did talk to Ted about it last year, and he said it's a horrible idea. The problem is they're so effective.
Okay.
So it's really a situation where the rules don't say no, and the aerodynamic advantage is substantial. So if you're trying to win Dirty Kansas, it might be something you have to have, but it might not be.
So let's kind of wrap with, after the event's over, so 27 hours from now and however many hours from now, what would you consider your ideal experience? Is it measured in time, placing, whether you crashed or not? Like, what is your takeaway of saying this event was the ideal event for me?
For me, goes back to that initial question of why I decided to do this event and why I decided to sign up for it, is to push my boundaries and my comfort level and kind of expand that reality, of what's possible. So for me to look back, at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock tomorrow, hopefully, fingers crossed, and see it as a successful ride, a successful event, is just that I was able to complete it and work through any kind of mechanical breakdowns, mental breakdowns, physiological breakdowns, and get to the finish line, and to show myself that something bigger is possible, and to hopefully show others that you can do more than you think you can do.
Adam, what about you? What's your ideal takeaway?
I mean, let's say a lot of similar goals to Jake, just challenge myself. I think my longest ride I've ever done is 150 miles. And that was a road camp, like team camp training ride, and it definitely got ugly by the end. But everybody got ugly by the end. I've never ridden a gravel road ride this long, ever. So is it possible? And we all know it's possible because thousands of people do it every year. Is it possible for me? I hope so. Like Jake said, it's a challenge of, can you keep your mind and your equipment rolling down the road and keeping that positive kind of thought process and eat enough, drink enough. And I think if you can do all that, then you have a lot more fun. And like, we're all out here to have fun and have a positive, fun experience and go tell stories about it. And if I can do all that, then it's a good day. So.
All right. Well, hey, we wish you the best. Best of luck for you in like an hour and a half from now.
Yeah.
Best of luck for you tomorrow. Let's give them a big hand for